What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the corner, taking a break from my live stream to report on. And normally, I don't report on this stuff. I think the only passings I've ever reported on my channel were Wreckful, who was important to me, one of the people that got me into streaming and an opportunity for me to talk about mental health, and then Stan Lee, which of course was influential to not just me, but so many, so many who follow my channel. We just got a report, and at the age of 76, Ozzy Osbourne has passed away, and we're going to take a look at some of the reporting. But I first want to give a shout out to Ozzy. His musical influence, relatively unmatched. I know he had his health battles throughout his life, but Ozzy was, always pretty based and a pretty interesting guy. I mean, he had just done a concert just a few weeks ago. I'm not sure we have the cause. He was 76. He lived very, very, very fast and hard. Drugs were obviously a big part of his life, and they've already released an obituary. And so, look, I mean, he's a rock and roll guy. One of the best to ever do it. Some people say the best to ever do it. Rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at the age of 76. It comes just weeks after the Black Sabbath star took the stage one final time with his bandmates at Villa Park. I mean, a lot of us remember, it seemed like a very public health battle that he had. Obviously, he engaged in a lot of kind of the party, the rock and roll lifestyle while in Black Sabbath and early. But I also remember him on the television show, and where he was clearly out of his mind, walking around, shuffling around, dogs, dumping all over the floor. I hated seeing him like that. And I really, really was, filled with hope, seeing him take the stage again. Obviously, he's 76. Brittle, still has, a lot of, damage under his body, but he went out on top. He passed away surrounded by love. A statement from his family said on Tuesday night, the family said is with more sadness than mere words that can convey. We have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family, surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. Sharon, Jack, Kelly, Amy, and Lewis. Ozzy, who became known as the Prince of Darkness thanks to his onstage antics that attracted a legion of heavy rock fans, played a short 5-song set reuniting with his bandmates Geezer Butler, Tommy and Bill earlier this month. The gig was touted as the greatest heavy metal show ever, with Ozzy grinning to chanting fans and even watching on after his daughter Kelly was proposed to by her boyfriend Sid Wilson. The rocker vowed, however, that this would be his final performance due to his deteriorating health, having opened up about his battle with Parkinson's in 2020. Now, could this have been related to Parkinson's? I don't know what really happens in the end stages of Parkinson's. I haven't seen it. I've had, it isn't in my family. Born John Michael Osbourne back in Birmingham in 1948, the started a string of jobs, including laborer, plumber, and many more. Dropped out of school at 15. Now, let me just say why Ozzy's personally important to me. I don't listen to a lot of heavy metal nowadays, but when I was young, it was like, Ozzy, Black Sabbath, Metallica, a lot of 80s rock and roll. That got me into playing music. Then I kind of went into punk rock music, which, is kind of an offshoot of heavy metal music. But, bands like Nirvana, things like that, I think Nirvana is one of the last true heavy metal, or one of the last true real rock and roll bands. And unfortunately, he's passed away. Back in 1978, he quit the band, got into drug use, leading to a divorce with his first wife. Then he met Sharon, who, kind of kept him clean for the most part, or at least tried to, kept his career going. Ozzy won another Grammy for Patient Number 9 in 2022, a single Degradation Rules, which featured Sabbath guitarist Tommy Iommi. But following a spat of nasty injuries, Ozzy was forced to cancel his upcoming tour after revealing he was just simply not physically capable of the travel required. He was later pictured looking frail as he walked in New York with the aid of a stick. Ozzy suffered a spinal injury after an incident in his LA home in 2019 that required him to undergo surgery on his neck. This is all likely, possibly due to his Parkinson's. Of course, then he was diagnosed with Parkinson's the same year and revealed the sad news a year later in a joint note with Sharon Osbourne. The singer told Good Morning America at the time that he couldn't hide his health struggles anymore, explaining the condition says it's Parkin 2, which is a form of Parkinson's, that there are so many different types of Parkinson's. It's not a death sentence by any stretch of the imagination, but it does affect the nerves in your body. It's like you'll have a good day, then a bad day, then a really, really bad day. A year ago, I was in a terrible state. I'm on the host of medication, mainly for the surgery. I've got numbness down my arm. My legs are going cold. I don't know if it's a Parkinson's or what. That's the problem. Parkin 2 cannot be cured, but treatments are available to minimize symptoms, although it is steadily degenerative. Experts say the variety Ozzy had was one of the slowest developing types, but long-term prognosis very significant, between crazy. Obviously had so many other issues. Not content with being laid up in his bed, Ozzy wowed fans with a surprise performance of Paranoid in his hometown Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games back in 2022. And this year he took the stage for Black Sabbath's final ever concert on July 5th. Something tells me he might have known. He might have known that something was coming. Ozzy was generally thrilled to be performing and repeatedly broke out into a massive grin. It was the first time in 20 years that the original Black Sabbath lineup had performed together. The son was there to witness the final show-stopping spectacular. Meanwhile, his daughter got married. She shared a video of the moment. Sid popped the question backstage. It came after Ozzy told how much he misses being on tour, and he insisted that he had not given up yet. Reflecting on how supportive his fans have been since the announcement, he said in February, "My fans, the one thing I really miss about not doing gigs, I'm a hands-on guy, I like talking to my fans. I miss them terribly. My goal is to get back on stage as soon as possible." I mean, the guy still had it in the end. The guy still really had it. And, the outpouring from his fans obviously is indicative of how much he was loved. If you look, Rip Legend, Crazy Train, basically everybody knows Crazy Train. But there are so many great Ozzy Osbourne songs, and I hope, you're listing your favorite Ozzy memory in the description. It's tough. Ozzy would not recognize that Birmingham is used. It's gone 90% British City. People talking about that. Obviously, we lose a lot of legends. Chester Bennington. Ozzy lived a long life. In 76 years, he has lived many, many lifetimes. More lifetimes than most people will ever know. And it's tough to say, I kind of always knew he was, he was on borrowed time. Seeing him on that TV show, seeing him like scuttle around. But this is how popular. Look at Ozzy, Rip Legend, Crazy Train, Rip to a Legend. Every single of the top trending topics on X are of Ozzy Osbourne. And it's because he was one of the last rock and roll stars. Like maybe one of the last iconic frontmen. I may be biased because I grew up in an era of epic frontmen, whether it was Axl Rose or Ozzy Osbourne. There are a lot of truly great frontmen, but Ozzy Osbourne truly was one of a kind. And my heart goes out to other fans the music industry, his family, and it's unfortunate. I don't think it was drug related. I think he was just dealing with just way too much. I hope you'll keep Ozzy. Play a Ozzy song today. Listen to Ozzy song in the comments to honor him today. And we'll talk to you again real soon.